the man who made off into this palace of silence. The engineer. He'll be here on watch duty for many long and cold months, until the next lucky guy strides in to replace him. If one comes through at all, of course. But there's no need to feel sorry for him. Although the terrain is wild, there's plenty to see and do around here. Especially if you're curious enough. Fortunately for my story, engineers are almost always inquisitive and attentive. These people notice things that elude the average person. And everything would have been fine in this adventure if the blizzard had not started at the wrong time. The chilly wind blew the engineer off the trail, which he immediately lost sight of. His fingers instantly turned into ice, like everything else around him. The last hope of salvation, a map of the terrain, treacherously slipped out of his hands. Luckily, the video's timing didn't allow the engineer to suffer for long. All of a sudden, in the middle of snowy nowhere, it appeared. A door to... Where to, by the way? The building didn't seem to be on the engineer's maps. Anybody home? This is how it all usually starts. On the table?
After that decently sized cutscene of them talking about what you're doing, who you are, and everything else, I want to talk about the actual gameplay and what you're doing in Voidtrain. What's up, everybody? One Nut Punch here. And here's the deal. If you go look at Voidtrain right now, it's probably got mixed reviews with a lot of people bitching about it being an EGS exclusive, that the UI is trash, that there's no combat or it's boring, and that crafting is difficult. I think all those people are idiotic as fuck. And I put about 6 or 7 hours into the game, and I have yet to see this. Maybe there was a couple of times I've had like a bug or a crash, but the game's early access. So of course it's going to have bugs and issues. Again, people don't understand the concept of early access. Even Googling it, they don't get it. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Essentially, Voidtrain is this. You are some engineer, like they say in the narration, and you're going on a train inside the void. You're picking up materials like organic, being able to pick up ice for water, scrap metal, wood, and even leather when you kill an animal. And you're using it to build your, essentially, train. With building your train up, you also gain armor, you gain a weapon that you'll get later on, like this pistol here, and that you can craft more stuff with it when you make an armory. And that could be a heavy grip, that could be a better pistol cylinder, that could be a better muzzle, you know. It really depends upon what you find, and the enemies that you find in the game will essentially be like these weird metallic, I guess, humanoids, and what they'll do is they'll shoot at you with pistols, and some of them will be armored, others will be just like half armored, and really it's just you trying to go in, kill them all, grab the stuff, get all the materials, and go back to your train and buff it up more. That could be buffing yourself up, that could be buffing your train up, adding more carts to it. It depends, like I said. Whatever you find is essentially what you can make. And that's pretty much all it is. So you're going in and going through these different scenarios, like, for example, this area to where you have to kill these different humanoid people. And then there are other ones to where, as the story progress, the narrator will talk more about, like, the scientist that you found this journal or diary and this train that you got, then going off and killing more people or destroying some type of outpost. Like I said, it's a lot of, you know, it's a first-person shooter with crafting, and yes, there's issues and bugs and stuff. It's early access, so it's going to obviously have that. But I have yet to hear or see any of these problems in terms of, like, the crafting sucking ass or being hard or too difficult to deal with, the shooting being garbage, which, again, I don't have an issue with, even though the pistol has infinite ammo, and I forgot to use the melee button, which is the F key. And the crafting is pretty much just progressive through the story. So you can make like a container, a workbench, a research bench, a laboratory, a armory, a kitchen, and that'll be for food, water, anything really. And the more you progress and the more stuff you make, the more stuff unlocks. Like, for example, my latest save, I have a grappling hook. And that grappling hook allows me to grab stuff easier if I'm out of reach, normally by jumping off my train to go on and pick stuff up in the air, because you could rappel yourself by essentially a rappel on the train and go out and pick stuff in the void. Now, there's other enemies too in the game. Like, there's these creatures that are big sharks that will come at you and mess up your train. There's also the weird seal things that are kind of making squeaky noises around. But they're essentially just kind of there because they're in the environment. The shark does drop leather, like I think is like +2. And then these other things, like the leeches, also drop 1 leather that you need to make armor or use for bandages. But in terms of what I think about this game for early access, it was $28 when I got it. I think the full asking price is $30. And I'm having a lot of fun playing it. So, like I said, I have yet to see these issues that people are talking about, let alone, saying that the game sucks because it's early access. I've never had a problem with early access games. And I mean, there have been tiers of early access games that are sometimes unplayable because they're broken from FPS problems, crashing, or having some type of, gameplay that would break and that you couldn't be able to play it. Again, this does not have that. There was one time that my train disappeared and that I rappelled all the way back to it. The other thing is that when you die, you respawn back on the train and you have to pick up your stuff again. But like I said, I think it's a great game to try out, and if you want something new that has crafting, a first-person shooter and it's pretty open, as well as narration with voiceovers that, again, I don't find annoying, but I find pretty fun to play, check out Voidtrain. Like I said, it's $30 on Steam. I've been One Nut Punch. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all later.